Hello, hello, good morning, afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day you watch this live. And for those that are in here today, thank you for coming on. This is Neva, the host for the Love Storm Show, where I encourage you to be inspired, motivated, and allow love to enhance your life, to take you on a journey of fulfillment and happiness. Be inspired because love is everything. Turn it up. Don't stop loving so you don't miss your blessing. It's very important. Today is a special edition that I have not touched the subject yet, and it is on loving children while they're young, resulting in their behavior and the way they deal with you in your aging years. So, I don't know what came over me to make me come up with this topic, but I think right now in this time of year, well, I take that back. It's some things that I have saw, and I realized that a lot of adults, um, the they may love the parents as they say they do, but sometimes the actions really shows um, later on in years. That being said, is that let me back that up some. When we have children and they're young, it's important to try to spend the time with them, to groom them, to teach them and guide them. A lot of times you have children, because of who they are, they're open people, they're sponges. They really watch everything around them, no matter where they go. And they sometimes feel like they have the idea already set in mind, according to other people lifestyles that they see, that you may be as an adult not um, loving on them properly, maybe caring for them properly. um, with that being said, as adults, each of us have come from a background. Everybody's background is different. Everybody goes through some type of choices and decisions that place them on a certain path of life or how they interact. But what's most important is not carrying on the same negative behavior as you may have experienced as a young child. What that means is that because you may have been raised in a home where there was a lot of neglect and abuse, does not mean you should carry on that same pattern. If you know how hurtful it is, why impose it on your own children, the children that you bear? You know, the saying is, hurt people to some degree, but it's still by choice, designed by choice. So just because you may have been raised in a home where you were neglected, you were abused, and no one seemed to care, be cautious and wary if you know that they made you feel some type of way. Don't project the same persona onto your babies because, excuse me, because you will then create a generational curse, a continued generational curse. So with that being said, we want to touch God that we break these generational curses of creating and continuing on the same negative behavior as adults have, as our parents may have. It's hurtful to see something continuous go on and then people wonder why people respond and react the way they do, or that they don't respond or react to something. I mean, they become desensitized with emotions because it's a very familiar thing. Negativity and letdown is a very familiar thing for them. So what else? How else are they supposed to be able to ride the waves of life if they have not been able to be shown, yes, this is something that's negative that has happened and taken place in life? That does not mean you need to reciprocate it. So we want to be able to separate ourselves. It's hard to stay in the midst of something that's so negative, that is so discouraging, manipulative. You cannot grow and heal continuing to stay in that same environment. And anybody that comes on today, if you have questions, shoot them out here and I'll respond to that the best I can. If you have personal questions for me as to regard of that, of our topic today, I'll be happy to answer. But we have to separate ourselves from negativity. We just have to, we must, in order to show a new light. I encourage people not to carry the same negative negative personas that we grew up in. Some people hate for me to speak about my personal experiences, but it doesn't bother me. And the reason it doesn't bother me because I know who I am. I know I'm of love, show love and respect to the utmost that I possibly can. And if I have had to be seen in a different light, it's because I have absolutely gotten fed up with the negativity that's been imposed on me. But still out of love and respect. That's why it's important to shut yourself away or distance yourself, shall I say. Cut people off that's not healthy for you. Because those ways and pattern, it will continue, like I said, to go through your bloodline. We don't want to do that because guess what? Each time we do that through each generation, it has, as we see today, why the world is the way it is. That is because the love will stop being shown, given, shared, and respected. A lot of people, it's like, why is the world like it is? We know it's a wicked world. But where does that come from? That comes from lack of love and lack of respect and lack of genuine. Okay? So you have to be certain that you love on your children as best you can. Now, you will have children that, we allow children around different people and they pick up different habits. So you're wondering sometimes, that saying, they'd be like, oh, that child sure do act like Trish. Where'd she get that from? Or where he get that from? They sure acting like Bob. The more we expose our children to different people, the children sit back and they watch the different ways that people interact and they mimic. So as they grow, you're dealing with a whole bunch of different personalities within your child. So it's so important to try your very best to be their number one positive person, to love on them, to be patient with them as they grow. Because, again, we're creating the future. We're creating a generation as to what our future would look like. So, again, for me personally, I grew up, a lot of people don't know, in a house where I was mentally, physically, emotionally, and sexually abused. And as I grew in that house, that imposed on me maybe 3 people. But the crazy thing was, by me being so young, and it was like I was step outside myself, or step aside, shall I say, and look and view at these different personalities, different people, and realize something's wrong. Something's wrong with these people. And I'm just going to be one less problem to whatever issues they're going through and facing. So what I realized as I got older, what it was when I realized the language of what was implemented, it was that I took the burden of everybody else and seeing that something's wrong, these people need help. But yet they'll look at me different and say I'm the weird one, or lame, or reserved, or conceited. It's not that. It's just I had to limit a lot of things because as a young person coming up, I didn't know how to stand my ground with even the grown people that was not there for me as I felt that they should be. And sometimes you have those people say, well, they did the best that they could. Well, the best that you could do with somebody is definitely to protect them by all means necessary. You know, and we have to really be in support of our children and guide them in a positive way, because when they outside our home, it's already things that they're gonna face. So protect your children is most important. What you say, son? That's why we let go. Be you now who they want you to be. Exactly. So I'm just, I used to be saddened by the fact that, family couldn't understand. But sometimes people feel like, oh, okay, it's all is done and over with, then that shouldn't matter. You should be able to move on. It's not that easy, because the people that's supposed to love on you the most, your first love is your family. And if they can't show you what not to accept, because they're part of the problem, it's hard to really, go out on your own in the world and realize what and what not to accept. So pretty much I personally had to learn to find my own way. But I know I was going to do it with kindness, and I was going to do it with love. But what I also did, and I also learned later on in life, and most certainly, I'll tell you, probably over the last 5 years, I really realized the trauma I endured is, I see where, I still dealt with some of the trauma because of some of the decisions I made. Not that it was bad on other people, as bad, or let me take that back, because I know with my children, I know it affected them to some degree. But I try to be functional and do the best that I can as a parent with my children. But like I said, as an adult, as recent as probably 5 years ago, I really sat back and I was like, wow, I wonder if I could have did a little bit different, or better, or something more. But I only did what I could, because I basically, from reading and looking at other positive people, I try to instill and incorporate that in my life. But how can someone do that when they still in a storm of, man, I really love my family? Because we know family is unity, and that's why I choose to be the one to break a generational curse with my children and my grandchildren, because it's important. It's important to me. And let me apply my children on here now, that y'all are great parents and spouses, and y'all do the best, and I love y'all, because I see your strengths where I was weaker at. But my best strength was to be certain to instill positivity in you, respect, and to be there for each other. Something that's valueless. Because sometimes people think that, oh, if they buy their kids everything, that means they love them. No, those are things, those are like adornments. Those are like, those are adding things. Say you dress yourself up with jewelry, those material things are things that are adding little adornment to enhance the outer of you, not the inner of you. So I like to work on the heart and emotions, because I didn't have that support like that. Especially coming from parents, when I was coming up, it was, I could never get the light, and it's sad that anytime someone tried to love on me or show me special attention or want to adore me with things because they appreciate who I am, it was always stripping from me. Even relationships, it was taken from me because of the people that did manipulative things to try to keep people from me that was loving on me. And those things, those negative, hurtful things, those things that was being imposed on me, that was hurtful, was not because I was a bad person. It was because as an adult, these individuals didn't want to be held accountable for some choices and decisions that they made. And for whatever reason, they want to look at me and fault me. Well, if I this and that. Well, hey, I'm 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. What do you want me to do? I'm just a kid. But the beautiful thing about it is that I still stay focused in school, because sometimes some people go through things they can't focus. I still was able to be good friends to some people. And I say some people because I only dealt with a couple people, you know. I didn't have really no issues with people in school because I was pretty much reserved. So as I look back and I'd be like, my gosh, like, you know, having this visual of myself looking back, and I'm like, man, I was a really emotional person. I was reserved. I didn't talk to a lot of people. And I think it's because I didn't want people to find out or know what had happened to me. You know, a couple of friends I had in school, I didn't tell them. They never knew what I went through. But me, what happened is because of the things that I had gone through, especially the sexual abuse, it's like I became a magnet. When I see other children and I can see the way their behavior is, it warrants me to draw closer to them. Or even adults and older people, grown people too, because you can see where they're reserved at. Well, something has happened. They've been abused in some type of form because they shell away. They shy away from things. They seclude themselves because a lot of times people don't want to talk about what they've gone through because it's hurtful and you don't know where to go. You don't know how to heal, and you don't want to open up wounds that you try to cover up, you know, and you really just want it to go away. But the only way you can get through that is by talking about it and having a person that's non-judgmental to really dig in and say, hey, I see where your weakness is. Let's help build you up where you need to go. And that first thing is cutting off those that cause the wounds, those wounds that are to the bone, to the marrow of your bone. Nobody can heal that but God. Nobody can help you heal that but God. But you can get to the guide, some type of tools to help, you know, you say, hey, you're a beautiful person. It's not your fault. Because see, I was blamed for it. But when you around people and those narcissistic people go around other people, individuals, and they say, hey, they create this flying monkey circus thing and make other people believe, oh yeah, she's a problem, it's a problem. Now, I'm not saying I was 100% perfect kid because at some point I got a little rebellious, but that wasn't one aspect where it hurted other people per se. I think it was more, it was self-inflicting. So a lot of choices I made was self-inflicting because I didn't want to hurt other people. I would take away from myself. I would put other people before me. And I just recently, old as I am, just learned to put myself first. So I'm happy about that. And it feels great to not care what somebody else think and just do what's best for me and for mine. Because as it is, I have a huge family of my own from birth, from my lineage. And, you know, over the last couple of years, it's been very important for me to branch away from those that choose not to have a healthy relationship so that I can build myself up, so I can be positive, strengthened in every way possible for my kids and my children. So, as recent I've been thinking about this, it's funny because my daughter brought it up about prayer, you know, so I believe this is gonna be a wonderful thing to do. But folks, I didn't want to get too much deep off it to me, but I wanted to bring to light an example of why it's so important to love on your children. Why it's so important to guide them. I mean, for me, it had been a little shifty because I always wanted my children to allow them to have a voice, you know, and I think I've allowed them to have a voice to a degree where it's a little bit toned to other people's ears as a disrespect. And so I've been trying to learn to find a balance in that, because if I always allow them to have that voice and they have it with other people, they take it the wrong way. And yeah, I'm grown. I could do what I want to do, but I wanted them to be able to be respected. It's a different tone that they should have when dealing with other people. So, you know, I just want to mention, I don't know a lot about a lot of people's personal issues, but I know a nice amount of people that have gone through some similar things that I have gone through. And the difference between, and they're very successful, and the difference between that and them and myself is I learned that they had a support system. And I applaud them for that. And it's beautiful because they had somebody that was really able to hold their hand. Now, I won't say at some point in time, a person, I won't say it wasn't people there for me, but later on down the years, but because of people with their weaknesses and dirty minds and dirty things that they tried to poison again to make me feel left alone. And that's okay, because everybody have to answer to the maker, the creator, But my point today was that you guys pass on to know to take a stand for your life, your children, for your lineage. Because it does not have to be negative. It doesn't have to be unhealthy. Take charge. Take a stand. Even if you have to be left alone. Because I know sometimes people stick together because they feel like they need the financial support of their family and things. It's programs, it's things and other people in other places that can help you get through. Don't be afraid to use any counseling services. Men and women alike and families can join. We have to learn to get the help and find the answers as to where we can even begin, because a lot of people don't know where to begin. Call the counseling services. Get with someone in your church or your home front in your spirituality. So look up to people that are in committed unions that they have taken on decades and they're continuing to stand with each other. Some people look at these people and be like, oh, I want the perfect relationship with them. But no, you need to find out what's keeping them together, because no relationship is perfect. But you have to know that and understand. I bring this part up because when we get in relationships, and if you're not open with people about your past traumas, you can't get mad at them when they don't understand what's going on with you. You have to be open to those that you're in these relationships with about your traumas, because if you don't, you're going to have a problem in your relationship. Let people know and understand what you've been through. If I've ever been the cause of a problem towards any of my kids, and I think I always tell them I apologize. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry about some choices and decisions I made. I tell them as often as I possibly can, but I want them to know that I did the best that I can. I'm going to continue to do the best I can. And right now, the best of what I could do right now is to remind them that they're good people, that they're strong, and they have some stronger aspects and point in life than even myself. And shoot, believe it or not, I sometimes had to call them man for things and for advice. And that's what I love, because, some parents think that they can't talk to their children and listen to their children for sound advice, because you got to remember your children watch you grow up as well as you watch them grow up. So they're able to say, hey, mom or dad, think about this and this and that, or maybe you should do this and that because I've been watching for so long and it didn't seem like that worked for you, or blah, 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 etc. So, guys, it's so important. Hold those children, love those children, listen. If they have, one thing I want to say, if they have a cry where they petrify, where they're shaking, if they don't want to be somewhere around somebody, don't force them. Don't force them. You don't know why they're doing that. It's something that they are warning you or warranting you about something that they may not be able to explain or that they are afraid to. But trust them and remind them that they can talk to you about anything. It does not matter who it is. It does not matter if someone said they're going to harm you or another family member. You have to train your children to tell you everything, especially when somebody's out of order. And that's something that I've always done because of that was my trauma when I was growing up. So I always tell my kids, anybody touch you, I don't care who it is, well, they got no business. I need to know. And I'm going to handle it, you know. And I wish more people that stop looking at their children as pawns. Don't shut them down when they're trying to tell you something important like that, because this person, this other adult that you engage with is taking care of your home, they're giving you all these things, you know. Don't sell your kids. You're selling them when you do that. You're selling them, whether you know it or not. And it really will affect them later on down the road. And guess what? Now, when your children get gone, you know how they're going to look at you, right? You know they're going to look at you in some type of way. You have to know that they're going to look at you and judge you. You're not going to even understand why. They shelling you out, shutting you down, cutting you off. It's because of what you did to them when they were younger. And they hadn't been discussed. There was no apology imposed in that process or at the end of the situation, because I never got one. To this day, I still be wondering. It's not the point of bowing down to me, because you got to answer to God for your choices. The point is so that you can have peace, so that you can know that, child, I may have not been there for you, or sister or cousin or auntie or whatever. I know I may have not been been there for you, but I apologize that if my apology had not, for the lack of my apology, I hope that it didn't create, or I'm sorry if it created some type of hostility within you. Just the reason you had to cut away and shut away. Because it's all about mental. As you get older, it becomes a mental thing. People don't understand. Yes, we act a certain way, and we're not able to address certain situations that come up in life because we don't know how to, or we've always been shut down. I could say that some years ago, I think my mom mentioned it to me. Well, what's wrong with you? Every time something being said, you shut down. I said, wow. When she said that, that was the moment I realized I need to do some other things. But shout out Marcellus on those itch. But it was the fact that I told her, it's because of you. It was because of you that I'm like this. Because when I was growing up and trying to always talk to you and tell you some important things, you always yelled and always shut me out. So, and I tell my kids, I don't want to be like that. But my little ones here at home, they say, you're starting to sound, you're yelling all the time. You're starting to sound like other people. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to sound like other people. Please stop me, respectfully. Because I don't want to have to, flex. But anyway, nonetheless, y'all be sweet to your babies. Your babies will determine when you get older, when you sick and you need somebody, your children should be the first ones at your beck and call. But if you ain't loved on them and treated them with love, respect, and kindness, to be honest, that's something you really have to talk to God about, and you should not be judged for it. As quickly as people see that those things have not happened, they will judge you not knowing the whole story, or not knowing someone has been lying. So I say that to say this. Hey, once again, love on your children. Be there for them. They're only young for so long. And you are creating the people that they are going to be when they get older. So that's my time. I'm getting off. Y'all have a good day. Until next weekend, I will post again what my next topic will be on Blue Sapphire Symphony Gauge. That'll be Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And the Love Storm Show, Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Anybody ready to come on? Come on and interview? Bring your topic. If you don't want to show your face, hit that topic in my messenger box. Let's talk about it. Otherwise, you can catch me also on Spotify. Yes, on the Love Storm Show. You'll be able to hear some of my chats on there. My YouTube channel, all these videos will be uploaded there. Please just subscribe, like, and follow. Follow me on the Facebook page, Neva Foxworth, The Love Storm Show. Come on now. I know a lot of people are afraid to talk about love and things like that. That's okay, but we want to break that. We want to break that because it has to be. All right, now, it's been great. Y'all, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, have a good one. Don't stop loving so you don't mess your life. And love is everything. Turn it up.